What's up, everybody? It's Ted here again with some buys and wicks. Just wanted to give you a quick update on Monero. I know I give you some pretty decent advice as to what would happen with Monero. However, I didn't get it all completely correct, and I know where I went wrong, and that's what I wanted to give you an update on is where I went wrong. So again, this is all about smart money. If you don't know what smart money is, watch my other videos in the intro. It'll give you a quick synopsis. Is basically don't believe in trend lines or crabs or all the bull flags, bear flags, all that stuff. Throw all that stuff out the window. Price does two things. It tries to fill imbalances and it attacks liquidity. That's the basic uh, concept of smart money. But there's a lot more to it than just that. But that's the basic concept. All right. So I won't go through an intro or anything like that. But what I would like to do is ask you to please subscribe to this page if you could. Also, give a like to this video, and if you have some people that you know that would need some help with trying to figure out what's going on with price action and need something outside the box, well, do them a favor and just share this video with them. It could be that simple. I'm looking over here because that's where my software is. Sorry, I'm not looking right at the camera all the time. But I'm trying to make sure I'm clicking on the right things. So let's just get right into the chart and find out where I went wrong. Okay, so above here there is, oops, this computer. Okay, here we go. Above here, we do see this large gap, right? That is going to be, right now, we are on the 4-hour chart. I believe this is the weekly fair value gap. Daily, yeah, it says daily, weekly fair value and fair value gap imbalance. So it comes up there and touches that. I think the last time we talked was right around this area where I say it was, and then look, it almost followed my path directly. Now where it came down to, I said it would come down and fill this what was a 4-hour fair value gap in this area here, right? Um, where you can probably see it moving around, right? Uh, However, what I didn't take into account, and I look below now, is that there was another 4-hour gap right here. So I'm going to make sure that that is seen. So I'm going to type in 4-hour FVG. As you can see, where that 4-hour fair value gap is, where that popped up, it dips down right into it, right here, right at that 108 marker. Almost, yeah, basically the 108 marker. Dips down right into it. It does not break this low though. And so whenever I saw this low, that's what I was looking at and thinking. And I saw the 4-hour gap, and I thought, okay, this coming down into the 4-hour gap and it taking off. That's usually a good sign that it doesn't come back down. It's called, I had said last time, an IOFED, and I forget exactly what it stands for, but in my last video, I know exactly what it stands for. I just can't think right now. Um, but it comes back down, touches it. So now it's making another. It doesn't break that low. However, it gets close enough to where what we would call, uh, you know, fairly equal lows. They're not exactly equal, but they're fairly equal, right? So that creates liquidity underneath. Why does that create liquidity? Because there are a bunch of people who try to trade just like the retail trade would, and they look at this and they go, "Oh, that's where support is." So guess what? I'm gonna put my buy limit, and I'll put a long position just to kind of give you an idea. I'll put a buy limit here, and it shouldn't get any lower than that buy limit, or that it shouldn't get any lower than there because that line is solid. That's a solid support line, right? So they put a buy limit just above it, put a very short, stop loss because they think that this is a solid support line. And what this is probably going to do, it's probably going to come down and fill this 4-hour fair value gap. I'm not joking. It's probably going to, if you're in a long, I would say switch it to a short. That's what I did. it came back up. As you can see, it with what I was talking about before was the 1 hour breaker and the 4 hour breaker. So it was up here last time I was talking, right? And I was saying, hey, it's probably going to come down here and possibly fill this 4 hour breaker, get to the bottom of it, and then come back up, or this 4 hour fair value gap and this 4 hour breaker being the support, right? Well, that necessarily didn't happen. It did break this low, which is where liquidity was at first. So there was liquidity one that I didn't see because of this 4 hour fair value gap down here. I was thinking too much. I was being too optimistic on my last chart, to be honest. Whenever I should have actually looked at this 4 hour fair value gap down here and thought a little bit more long term. But I made a mistake, and I'm owning up to it. Made a huge mistake, and if I misled anybody, I apologize. But again, this is not advice. This is just my experience from doing price action, especially in the Forex world. Again, I'm trying to bring this over to the crypto world, and it has been working. However, I do make mistakes, and when I make mistakes, I try to correct them. I try to let you know. So this was a mistake on my part to think that we would only get to this 4 hour fair value gap and then go up. Instead, there was another 4 hour fair value gap way down here, and now I think that's where this is heading. Right? It did come down. It breaches into this 4 hour fair value gap again. Again, what is a fair value gap? It is the difference between, you can see a bullish candle, right? So it's a very bullish candle right here, right? That breaks this low, right? So this bearish candle, then there's a bullish candle that comes up here and closes way above it. There's another bearish candle, but these two candles on each side of the bullish candle never do touch. That creates a gap, and that is what is called a fair value gap. It's basically just like a regular gap in any kind of chart. Why? Because if you get to the 1 minute, there may not be any of this filled in. It could just, I mean, I'm sure there is a lot of it filled in, but if you get to the 1 minute, there could be, breaks here and there, and even at the very bottom of this, there could be a small gap to where price never touched. So what is price going to do? It's going to try to come down and fill that. So what does it do first? Is it creates fake liquidity, right? Or creates, just basically liquidity. I should say a fake support line. So there's that support line there. Everybody now will be thinking if it comes back down to this area, that's where it's going to hit its low and then move on back up. No, that's not what it's going to do. It's going to move past that because everybody is thinking that's what it's going to do. Smart money is smarter than that. That's why they call it smart money. They know how you're going to trade. They control the chart, so they are going to sell down into this. And by also covering their sell, they are going to, well, by selling off Monero, from their account, they also short it to cover that, right? So that's how they make their money. You don't make money just by buying and selling Monero. You do it by selling as much as you can, and then also shorting it at the same time, and then forcing the chart to go down. Also, then the retail people will follow. They will also sell off. And then once it gets to a certain point, generally filling up the 4 hour fair value gap, maybe getting halfway or at least getting to the top of this bullish order block, which would be right here at the top of this red candle. It could get all the way down to there maybe, or it could fill the 4 hour fair value gap completely. It could be any of those things, but I do know it's probably going to get below this 108 point, right? Because everybody's thinking that's where it's going to turn around, because they think that's where support is. It's going to get below that and then hit anybody as a short stop loss, take them out, fill up the gap possibly, or fill up most of the gap, and then possibly turn around. As you can see at the very bottom of the gap, look what it hits. Look where it is, especially on the fib. All right, this is a smart money fib, right? A smart money fib, we use basically a couple different numbers, right? We use 50%, okay, of course, the 61.8, sometimes run up 62 sometimes, 70.5, right, and the 79%. The reason we use 79% is because almost every single wave will have its turnaround point around 80% I saw somebody tweet about this the other day, and I was like, you are exactly correct. I was like, that is a smart person right there, because he knows every time a wave will turn around at about 80%. So we put 79% to give ourselves a little bit of leeway. That way, in case it does get to 80%, hey, you're jumping in at 79, you're giving it 1% to go down a little bit further, and then go back up. So that's why we use 79%. 88.6% is also another point that it likes to come down to. Sometimes it'll just spike down there really quick and then pull back up, and it usually won't close below the 80%. Okay, so just keep all that in mind. So those are the markers that we use for the smart money fib. So I'm thinking that's what it's going to do. Come down possibly to this 105 area. That's where I have a limit set, is 105. And we'll see if it turns around from there. But that's all I got for you today. Thanks a lot for taking a watch and listening to me, and thinking and listening to me, and letting me tell you that I screwed up on my last analysis, and I'm showing you where I screwed up, and I'm showing you where where not to go wrong again, in case you are to make some kind of analysis like this. If I am wrong on this analysis, I will try to find out where I went wrong on that one, because the only thing I can think of right now is what it could do would be try to get below the current low. But I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's going to do that, because there is liquidity below here, right? There is people that could possibly see this as, you know, a support line right there. But I think I think we've made our low. I think we're starting to turn around. It's taking time. Be patient, right? That's the only thing I can tell you. This thing isn't going to take off in a day or two. It's going to take weeks and months, right? So just be careful with what you're doing, and just this is not financial advice. This is just my experience and my analysis, okay? So thanks all for watching, and hopefully I will see you all soon.